My friend, chairmaker Greg Harkins, has been making chairs about as long as I've been doing television stories. It's a good life for Greg, a life he's proud to say he has managed to live the way he wanted to.
Well, basically, I have lived my life on the edge of the knife. That's working every minute that I could possibly work and trying to have a little fun on top. I got very good at both of them.
Greg's chairs speak for themselves, all handmade from trees Greg felled and milled and planed and turned himself. They're owned by presidents and popes to rock stars and regular folks. Thousands of them all over the world. This is one of the roots of Greg Harkins' rockers, a chair Greg has known all of his life. His grandparents set up housekeeping with this chair. The story of it was a part of the fabric of Greg's childhood. Another of the roots of Greg's chairs is an old chairmaker from Thomastown, Tommy Bell, who Greg apprenticed under. Not only did Greg learn chairmaking from Mr. Bell, but also a work ethic. Well, now Greg has an apprentice, Hodges.
The reason I make the quality chair that I make, and the reason I passed that work ethic off, to Hodges, is because of Tommy Bell.
Two other bits of work ethic I gleaned from Greg out of our visit. One, the piece of advice his father taught him when he was a child and they'd go fishing.
He taught me to fish like a master, fish like you're starving, and stuff like that, like your family's hungry.
And another observation from which Greg learned a life lesson and a work lesson was from watching his grandfather, who ran a restaurant, open 22 hours a day, 7 days a week, every week.
How do you put a person out of business that is willing to put that much into it? My business has always been as good to me as I have been to it.
Greg points out that he's never worked for anyone other than himself.
That's out of one side of my mouth. Out of the other side of my mouth, there was a time that I had 1,500 bosses for short periods of time, and as soon as they get their chair made, now you're the boss, and then you're the boss. If I decided to, close that door and go squirrel hunting, I just close the door, Only problem is that if you're working for yourself, you don't have the luxury to do that.
But there comes that time in life that no matter how optimistic you are and no matter how much positive energy you give off and absorb, you realize there are fewer days out in front of you than there were when you started.
Never did I think that there was an end to this, but there is an end to it.
Well, two thoughts come to mind for Greg at this point. One, he wants all of us who own a Greg Harkins chair to know that he appreciates us.
It's not so much that I'm their hero, they're mine.
And another thought that Greg has as he reflects.
There's lots of people out there that are constantly saying, I want to get one of your chairs, The way it looks to me is they need to come on.
Well, two more thoughts about Greg. The day I was there, movie maker Cotton Yancey was sizing up how to do a documentary about Greg and his chair making. Cotton says Greg's in the category of a Mississippi master.
Mississippi's known for a lot of things, the blues and the arts and everything, like actors and all the fine arts. And I consider Greg one of the fine artisans. And he's right up there with B.B. King, right up there with Elvis Presley,
And then one last thought from Hodges, Greg's apprentice. Why apprentice under Greg Harkins?
He's one of the only people left alive that is a master of it. I'm sure there's somebody else, but he's the only one I'm aware of.
And from this perspective, although he may not realize it right now, these are Hodges' good old days, just like Greg has his, having them because of an ancestry of master chairmakers who did their craft and made sure to pass it along for posterity.